finding at not only practically developing leaders, but they've looked into all the academic research over the years. So very rich source of learning. We took the team there. I mean, I went there as a 16-year-old kid when I was at Crystal Palace. We had 3 days at Caterham Army Barracks, one of the first things I did. And you learn about building resilience, and you learn about pushing yourself further than you think you can go physically. And then we took the team there because we wanted to just put them into a situation that threw them out of their norm and get them working together. And some of the guys had never camped out, so I think those experiences definitely helped to bond the group. All the staff went through it as well. So people, we had a lot of ageing staff like myself going through these sheep dips and things. So it's just, I think, again, looking at young people today, those sorts of outdoors experiences are things to be encouraged and help people to find aspects of their character that maybe they didn't realise was there.
Take you back to when you were a young teenager, and it was all going really well, and then Southampton said, no more, they let you go. That, it strikes me from reading the book, was a moment which could have gone either way for you, but you turned it into a positive. What do you think you learned from that moment? Well,
I think a career in sport, like any other talent industry, there is a lot of rejection, and I think you always have a choice in how you respond to those moments of rejection. And I, excuse me, I definitely found resilience. I think it's so important for young people. I think they don't realise, they assume that people like yourselves, you're very famous, you're well established in the field you're in, but you'll have had lots of rejections along the way to get to where you are today. And that happens in all industries. And I think young people maybe want to go very quickly today, and they don't think that they see rejection as the end, whereas actually they're the moments we learn, they're the moments we have to find something within us to go again. And definitely, I had to reflect on, okay, there's things I've got to be better at, and you hit those hurdles all the way through your career.
It's interesting, isn't it? While you have a little drink, we're going to show a moment that you've seen a million times, I'm sure. It's that famous penalty from Euro 96. You talk in the book about this moment, and it's so interesting because you say, I could, by my own actions, turn it to my advantage, use it to make me stronger. Away fans would ridicule me for years. People would shout out of vans as I walked down the street, and I'd be introduced as that guy who missed the penalty for about 2 decades. But I would learn that setbacks and failures are inevitable, and the inevitable consequence of striving at the highest level. And it wasn't the only one, was it? It was also had a difficult time at Middlesbrough. How important is it that the young people that you mention learn that it's okay to sometimes get it wrong, to mess up?
Yeah. Well, it's one of the certainties in life that things are going to go wrong for you. And, what I learned from 96 was that I failed to execute a skill under pressure. And I needed to, prepare, to have been better prepared. So there was the skill itself, which I tried to put into the work we did with the team in getting ourselves through penalty shootouts. But then there's the individual part that, again, we're back to resilience building and realising that, when I went to bed that night, I remember thinking, I don't know how I'm ever going to get over this. The whole country's on this carnival of football in 96 and heading towards a final, and I'm the guy that's responsible for us going out. But slowly you make those steps that, okay, step outside the house the next day and slowly get over it. As I said, people weren't shy of reminding me about it when I played away in opposition grounds, but there's always a way through these things, and you have to find that strength to come through it.
Do you think missing that moment, that penalty, made you a better leader?
Well, I'm sure it did. I'd still like the opportunity to have scored it and see, have the day in Trafalgar Square with the trophy. That would have been better, and better for the teammates I played with, because they also missed out on getting to the final. But there's no question that those moments make you a stronger person, yeah.
You're so focused, I know, on your work with young people, and I also noticed that you don't appear to be a massive fan of social media?
Well, I've literally just joined Instagram, although I don't think the algorithms pick me up yet.
I couldn't find you. I couldn't find you.
Yeah, I worry about it because we show young people perfection. And, you know, I've often said at some point I'm going to post myself putting in the bins out because, you know, nobody's doing that, but that's the reality. Everybody has to do those mundane things. And I think young people, there's a risk they look at other people's lives, this edited highlights reel, and they think everything's perfect. And we know that isn't the reality of anybody's life. So whilst it's a great way of interacting and making sure that people stay in touch, and we're not going to stop young people using social media, but I think they themselves recognise they've got to think about how often they use it and who they follow and who they look up to, because the right sorts of role models are very important for our young people.
And it can be a cruel place.
Yeah, well, that's also, again, I don't think there's a lot of enjoyment or happiness to be found looking in the comment section if I was to look there. And it amazes me that people want to behave that way towards others. But I think you've got to be, if you're going to use social media, you've got to understand that landscape and not let it get you down. It's you've got to be strong enough to either not look at those comments or to be able to rationalise them, really.
Do you think young children should be on social media? Do you think we should restrict? Should there be an age limit, maybe?
Well, it's very interesting now that we're probably just starting to see the consequences of a generation that have grown up with social media. And I'm meeting lots of parents who are making that consideration. And of course, it's hard for parents. They don't want to be the only parents to take the phone away or to restrict their children. So I think we've got to work with youngsters, explain the pitfalls of social media. I think very often they can be good at self-regulating. I think they see the dangers of it. There's also lots of positives to it, so we don't want to lose those things. But you know, I think people will more and more consider what age is it right. Because when we went, I mean, I'm older than you guys, but
I don't think you are. I really don't.
When we used to, you know, we used to go outside, play. You would with people your age, roughly, maybe a couple of older ones that you learn from. You go online, you're exposed to people of all ages, and that's, you know, that is a concern.
Been a big debate on social media over the last few weeks about flags going up all over England and what they represent. Some people proud of them, some people questioning the use of them in certain circumstances. Just reflecting on the title of the book is Dear England, after the letter you wrote to the country about patriotism. Do you think, what do you think of that flags debate in the context of what you think of patriotism?
Well, you know, I worry about unity. You know, I've seen the team, what we did with the team, unify every community. And I do think there's more that bonds us all than separates us. Now, you know, at any period in history, there will always be some disunity under the surface. And life is tough, economically tough for lots of people. So I understand why people are disaffected. But there's so much more. You know, COVID was a good example where, you know, people did the shopping for their neighbours, that people rallied around. That is what the British spirit is about. And I think we should try to focus more on what brings us together rather than what separates.
Are you feeling more disunity now than maybe there was a couple of years ago?
Well, that feels the way, but we have an opportunity to change that narrative. And I've seen with the team, you know, the big nights with England bring every community together. It showed the people, you know, people showed their pride in being English. And I know when I travel around that's the thing that people talk to me about. We had a huge disconnection with the team when we started. And then 8 years on, we've had some incredible nights and some incredible memories created. And they're the things we should focus more time on, I think.
So you've written a book about leadership, but you're not currently leading a football team. Do you think that's a little bit of a waste?
Well, other people can decide that. I'm very comfortable with it. I had an amazing time. Obviously, the great thing with England was there's this higher purpose that you're you know, I joined the FA to try to help English football become better, to help youth development in particular. I somehow stumbled and ended up in the first team manager's job, and we had a pretty good period. But I'm not desperate to stay in football. I've had 37 years in football, which has been
Even
an
if there
amazing...
was a really big job available, big Premier League job?
Well, you can never say never, because I've just seen Martin O'Neill at his age go to Celtic, but it's not something that's high on my agenda at the moment. I'm enjoying the work around leadership. I'm enjoying my work with young people, very determined to try and make a difference there. And so, no, I'm very relaxed about not being in football at the moment.
No waistcoat.
I know, my apologies for that. It wasn't really the weather when I left Yorkshire this morning.
Gareth, it's great to see you. Thank you so much. And it's your first...
Super smart, though.
Yeah. So it wasn't criticism.
Yeah.
Great to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
And Gareth's book, Dear England, Lessons on Leadership, is out